Hello students, last time we ended up our discussions where we were looking into problem of minimizing a function subjected to inequality constraint, and we realized that we can really reduce this problem to a problem of unconstrained optimization where solution would be within the region bounded by red. Now let us look into another condition where solution may not be as easy as it was in the last case. So we'll try to generalize what we learned in our last lecture to all the cases. So let us say that now we are given that we have to minimize a function which is given by x minus 1.5 square plus y plus 3 square subjected to same constraint that x square plus y square is less than equal to 1. And now when we plot the constraint which we are showing in red, we know that the feasible region here would be inside or at the boundary of this circle because constraint is less than equal to. And if we plot the equation that or the function that we want to minimize or maximize, the we what we would do here, we will go to the center which is at 1.5 and minus 3, and we will again plot a circle here. Now the thing is that its center is fixed given based on the equation, but we can definitely change its radius, and here the solution is not going to be 0 because if we go towards inside of this circle, because this circle would be increasing outwards and hence to minimize we have to go inwards, the problem is going to be that we are never satisfying the constraint and it should be subjected to this constraint. So what we have to do is that we have to identify a point which is the minimum as well as satisfy the constraint. Intuitively, we will keep on searching for a circle in a way that center is fixed, but we will look for the point where it just kisses this circle that we have drawn in red, or which is a constraint. And again you would see that the slope of or the gradient of function is proportional to the gradient with a negative sign because these functions are increasing in different directions. So we can say that minus lambda times g, and hence we can write as del f plus lambda times del g equal to 0. And you see that now one condition is for sure, that in this case our lambda has to be greater than 0, because if our lambda changes sign, then we are playing with the directions which are non-compatible, because we know in this example that our circle is increasing in this direction. So this is the direction of positive gradient, and in opposite we should have a direction of negative gradient. Similarly, this constraint is also increasing in outward direction, so that has to be direction of positive gradient, and at this point the negative gradient is parallel to the positive gradient of constraint. Also, if you see here is that as soon as this lambda is greater than g, we say that the constraint that we are imposing on g has become an active constraint. And we have already seen what was the situation before, is that we were saying is that when we are in the area which is towards the center and away from the constraint boundary, we are saying that now constraint has become inactive. So this particular problem can simply be solved by equating the gradient of f with respect to the variable that constitute x. So if this is x vector as we have discussed, we equate to 0 and we get the solution. But in this case, what we will do, we will introduce a Lagrange function. We would say that here Lagrange is given by fx plus lambda gx, where our fx is minimization problem and gx are less than equal to constraints, and lambda is our Lagrange multiplier. And for having the general case, what we will do here is that we will take the gradient of Lagrange with respect to all the variables that constitute x and equate it to 0. And in addition to that, we have a condition that lambda should be is greater than 0, and it should also be equal to 0 when constraint becomes inactive. So when we try to combine these conditions, we can write it in together, that is for both these conditions, be it active be it inactive, we should have lambda greater than equal to 0 and the gradient of Lagrange with respect to x equal to 0. Also, we can say that either lambda has to be 0 or the constraint under consideration has to be 0. Why so? Because when you are at boundary, you clearly see that here gx is equal to 0 and that would make this lambda greater than 0. On the other hand, if we are somewhere inside, our gx is less than 0. That would mean that our lambda is equal to 0. So the product of lambda and gx at any given time when we are dealing with constraint optimization problem, it has to be equal to 0. And all these points that we are considering are at the point of optimality, and that would mean that our x star has been derived from the fact that at the point under consideration we are checking for a point that we have obtained as potential minima or maxima candidate based upon the gradient consideration. Also, when we say that our constraint should always be satisfied, that our gx star has to be less than equal to 0 because this was our prime constraint and we also call this as a primal. These are our secondary constraints that we derived based on this geometrical interpretation of the constraints and where we would find our potential solutions, and these are called as the conditions of duality. And once we set up this problem, we also look into the conditions of double derivative, that we say that lambda xx and its Lagrangian with respect to x star and lambda star should be positive definite matrix, because whatever Hessian matrix we are constructing, whatever signs that we get here, they should be positive definite. And if all these conditions are satisfied, we can easily deduce whether our point is indeed a minimum subjected to all the constraints. And the conditions that we have put in box, they are famously known as Kahan Tucker conditions. And one thing to note here is that our problem is stated in the form of minimization subjected to less than equal to constraint, and Lagrangian is stated in the form of fx plus lambda gx equal to 0. So if our problem is stated in this standard form, then we say that all these conditions must be satisfied for a particular point to qualify to be minima. Now, if we change sign any of this, let us say that we say that I don't want to specify it as plus lambda g. I want to specify my Lagrangian as delta f minus lambda del g equal to 0. Of course, you can do that, but then you have to make sure that you flip the sign of lambda. If you specify your Lagrange in the form of del f, Lagrange in the form f minus lambda g, uh, uh, lambda g, then your lambda has to change sign and it should become less than equal to 0. But most of the times we will try to stick to one standard form, which is a minimization problem subjected to less than equal to constraint, and Lagrange function is stated as fx plus lambda g, and these conditions would be easy to recall whenever we have to check the particular situation. Now in next a video, what we will do, we'll solve one specific example and put all these equations to use, and then we will see that how easier it is to solve numerical problems using the concept of Lagrangian for function, be it linear or non-linear. Thank you.